Ladies and gentlemen, the following episode is scheduled for one fall. Coming down the aisle are your hosts of In The Kliq, baby Huey and BrianTronic.
What's up, everybody? Baby Huey here, and joining me once again is my tag team partner, BrianTronic. How's it going, man?
It's going great, Huey. I'm glad to be back. We are back and ready to attack.
Yeah, man, here we are back for another episode of In The Kliq. So much to talk about. Here we are. We're let's see, a couple days removed from Monday Night Raw, and this weekend's the big Crown Jewel show, which we'll do our predictions for that in a little bit. But so much news-wise, clickbait news-wise, that we'll get into. Of course, we'll talk about the highlights from SmackDown and Raw. It's just been a busy week, man. I just, for me, I know we took a little time off, a little hiatus, just because we were busy with life and all that other stuff. And there was like so much major news that happened. Yeah. But then sure enough, there's so much more news going on right now. So that's the thing I love about pro wrestling. It's like a 24-hour news cycle. There's so much to talk about, so never much to ending. Get into. It is really never ending. like today, I was driving home from work and I was thinking, man, what are we going to talk about? And then when I sat down at the computer and was looking up at stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, this story. So yeah, so much to get into, which we'll do that in a second. But I do want to remind everyone, if you're listening to us right now, thank you for doing so. Wherever you listen to us, if you're listening to Apple Podcasts, please leave us a rating, leave a comment there, give us a 5-star rating. A review helps out as well, because I'm sure there's so many wrestling podcasts out there, so many great ones. So if you leave us a rating there, or a review there, some nice words, that when people are looking through, they can read the feedback, and hopefully gives people a reason to subscribe to us. So please subscribe to us wherever you get your podcast at. If you're listening to us on YouTube, we gotta start doing video.
Yeah, man.
We still got to do it. We will get into that at some point. I need to have some free time from work. Work's been so busy lately, so we will do that. But if you're listening to us on YouTube, please subscribe, hit that like button, leave a comment as well. Share the podcast, email us intthekliq@gmail.com. I do want to do a fan question, maybe episode or something in the near future. So please email us any questions you have. And yeah, follow us on social media at In The Kliq, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. We will, Brian, you're gonna be watching Crown Jewel live, right?
Oh,
Saturday morning. Okay, so yeah, we'll be live tweeting. And you're gonna be more live tweeting on your personal Twitter, right?
That's right.
At BrianTronic.
I will be there at BrianTronic. Okay. On Twitter.
Yes.
All the goods.
Yes, and I'll be doing some live tweeting, and I'll retweet both of our stuff on at In The Kliq's Twitter page as well. So please follow along. So much to get into. It's going to be a busy week still. We just saw Dynamite early, which we'll save that for the next episode. We'll talk Dynamite, maybe NXT on the next episode. But this episode's going to be all about Raw, SmackDown, predictions for Crown Jewel. But first, some clickbait news. And unfortunately, some sad news. And I say that because we don't like seeing people lose their jobs, especially in the world of pro wrestling. But yeah, this week it was announced some releases over in NXT, and PW Insider was the one that reported this. So it looks like there was 5 releases from NXT. The first being Bodie Hayward, which is probably the biggest name. Mm-hmm. And he's probably the most recognizable. He's the one that's been on TV a lot, the guy with the long blonde hair and Chase U. So he was released. Also Sloane Jacobs, 19-year-old red hair girl. Yep. If I remember, she was in the breakout tournament, I believe, as well.
I think she was. Yeah.
And then let's see, Erica Yan from China. She signed with them last year. She started appearing on TV in late 2021. Let's see, Damaris Griffin, 26-year-old from Texas. A few appearances on NXT Level Up, and then Ru Fang, am I pronouncing that right? I hope so. Signed to NXT, a year ago, from China as well. Made appearances on 205 Live and some on NXT TV in an enhancement role. So, yeah, man, like I said, it always sucks seeing people lose their job. We don't want to see people lose their job, but, these do happen in pro wrestling. They got to make cuts, here and there every once in a while. So, yeah, Brian, turn to you, man. Your thoughts on this latest set of releases?
Well, it was a little bit of a surprise just because I didn't think that they'd be doing any. I mean, I was surprised, but then I was
I'm not happy to see anyone lose their job, obviously, but I was happy that it wasn't anyone who, was involved in a storyline or who, we've seen on television. I mean, again, like you said, Bodie was probably the only one, even for me. I know for a lot of people, but even for me, like, it was a surprise because it's just like, yo, he's part of Chase U. He's on TV every week. I thought he was pretty decent in the ring. He's full of charisma, right? Like, he kills all those promo segments and so it was a little weird. Sloan Jacobs was also another name that me personally, I was kind of shocked to see, just because she was so young. The few times that I saw her wrestle, I thought she did pretty good, especially being as young as she is. I was like, well, okay, this is gonna work. She can hang, right? And then everyone else, like, I mean, I've seen a couple times on Level Up where they're used as security for different segments and things like that. So it wasn't too many, but hey, you can't keep them on. And I did remember reading something saying that I guess the new rule in NXT that they're going to give you time, and if it doesn't work out, then they're going to let you go. I know I saw someone on Twitter say, oh, well, some of these people have only been there for a little over a year, not even 2 years. I think the rule is 2 years, but hey, I mean, if even if it's been a year, I still feel like, hey, if it's not cutting, there's no point in wasting the other year to see if you're going to get it, right?
Yeah, no, and that report you're talking about, that's from our boy, Graham GSM Matthews. That's right. From Bleacher Report and Wrestle Rant. He was down in SummerSlam at the tryouts down there, and he did an interview with one of the like head NXT officials or someone from WWE's camp. And yeah, he explained to him, and I'm paraphrasing here, I should have had that up in front of me, but I believe more or less is they get like evaluated every 6 months. And then I think once you're on NXT TV, you have like 2 years to progress to a point to move up to Raw or SmackDown. And if 2 years time being on NXT TV, if you're not ready for Raw or SmackDown, then they gotta let you go. Okay. But I do get what you're saying though, as far as a lot of these people just signed like a year ago. So what's the deal? So maybe it's a situation they've been recently reevaluated and they just felt like they weren't progressing enough to be even on NXT TV. That's my guess here. That's just how I'm assuming it. And, keep in mind, they're at a point now where they are signing a lot of collegiate athletes. I know Triple H, under his regime now, he's more open to bringing back some or signing indie talent, kind of like how it was back in the day with NXT, signing guys from like Ring of Honor and other big names from the indie scene. So it's like he's kind of like he's doing the best of both worlds as far as trying to sign maybe indie talent and then get like these top collegiate athletes who are, finishing up college and looking for work now. And, maybe they don't get into pro sports. So maybe wrestling's like their fallback plan. What's the 3-letter, I was gonna say NFTs, not NFTs, not NFL, NIL. So that's next where it's like next in line. So that's where it's like, you can make money working while in college, right? Is that how layman's term? Yeah.
WWE actually, they signed a couple of next in line college athletes who aren't even like, they haven't even reported to the PC yet, right? Like they have access to it,
like committed
to train. Yeah, but I know these two twins. I forget their names.
The one from Fresno, right?
From Fresno, yeah,
Fresno, yeah.
I believe they're still playing ball somewhere.
Yeah, I think down there. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, no. So that's the thing is like, so that's what I'm saying is like, they're now at the point now where they're cycling in new talent every. I don't know how often they bring in new talent to the Performance Center. But yeah, you don't want like this logjam situation where you keep bringing in more talent,
right?
And then the ones that are already signed there, who's been down there for a minute, it's just your roster at the Performance Center is going to keep growing, and so you gotta clear some space to make room for the next set of talent to come in the next class, and so maybe the older class that are there, if they're not progressing enough to maybe be on NXT regularly or get moved up to Raw or SmackDown, then unfortunately, you got to cut bait and let them go. Right. But I do understand in this situation, it's a little interesting, specifically like Bodie Hayward, who, he's been wrestling here or there. He's been very much a part of Chase U as like the sidekick for Chase, and doing all the vignettes and these segments and out in the ring and stuff. So that was really surprising. I know it was Brian Alvarez made a comment, I believe this week, said he heard that apparently Bodie has been labeled like someone that's a handful to work with, to deal with. That's just, Brian Alvarez saying that. Who knows?
Yeah.
None of us are there. We don't know how he is. I do want to shout out our boy Tim from Pro Wrestling Unlimited. He actually texted me earlier. He's going to be doing an interview with Bodie this week. So,
sweet.
Subscribe to Pro Wrestling Unlimited's YouTube page. As soon as he gets done with that, I'm sure he's going to turn that around and upload it to their YouTube page, and also his website, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. So, follow Pro Wrestling Unlimited on all social media, and follow Tim on Twitter at Timmy Buddy. I know Bodie's actually, so Bodie got released, what was it, yesterday, but he's already doing interviews. So like I said, I'm gonna wait and listen for the Pro Wrestling Unlimited interview, probably because I gave Tim some questions, so I want to see which questions he asked him.
Sweet.
You didn't hear that from me, but I helped him out. We'll see. But anyway, Bodie did some other interviews, and he talked about his time in NXT, which I'm sure Tim will get into that with him. But he did explain how he got the news. Apparently it was a 45-second call just to let him know that he wasn't maximizing his potential, which definitely caught him off guard, because we saw the latest stuff with Chase and Duke Hudson, and it seemed like he was getting a lot of TV time. And then he also said he was shocked by the release. It just came out of left field. Let's see. He said he loves being in front of the crowds. And it sounds like he wants to keep going. So like I said, I know there's quotes out there. Like I said, I'm gonna wait for more of Tim's interview to kind of hear more of Bodie's side of the story. So please, for the Kliqsters out there, support Timmy and wait for his interview to drop with him. But yeah, no, Bodie, like he signed last August 2021, made his debut on TV this January. So I get it. It's like, he's barely been with the company for 14, 15 months now. So it's odd that, someone got released. A lot of these people here have been with the company for a year, but maybe it's a point they've been evaluated. They weren't progressing enough to the standards to maybe be on TV regularly. So maybe that's why. I just had to guess. So
it's unfortunate though, because he did so well, but and as we're sitting here talking about it, I just thought real quick that maybe because he was a big part of Chase U, right? But maybe he's just maybe they wanted something in it, whether it's from him or from someone else. I mean, I know they have Thea Hale now too, right? And she's such a big personality, full of charisma also. So maybe it just didn't click. Maybe the three of them weren't going in the direction that they wanted the group to go in.
Yeah, that's true too.
And I'm just thinking,
yeah. I mean,
it sucks. It sucks to get a call like that. I'm sure when that you're on TV and you got that whole crowd section, and everyone loves Chase U, right? Yeah,
no, like he said, he's shocked because he's on TV regularly, and he's part of a faction, the Chase U faction, and it seems like things are going well in his career in his short time down in NXT, but. Whatever the reason is, they felt like he just don't need him anymore. So I hope, and he never wrestled before. He was like someone that was, they taught from the beginning. Like, so he signed in August 2021, never wrestled before. So he was a collegiate athlete, I believe. So yeah, he was learning from scratch how to wrestle. So, hopefully, he, has the wrestling itch and wants to keep wrestling, and wish him all the best. So like I said, we'll wait for Timmy's interview with him and see what he has to say. But speaking of the wrestling itch, the wrestling bug, I guess you can say, CM Punk, you like that segue?
Yes.
Wrestling itch, wrestling bug, I don't know where one, but yeah, either CM or. Punk back in the news once again, which, by the way, with Bodie, I do want to say it was kind of little sad moment. Chase U this week on NXT. They looked at the flag, the Chase U flag, and she's said, "Oh, it feels like something's missing," and Bodie's not there to hold the flag. So everyone's like,
that was sad.
That was sad. It was very sad. But
I'm glad they addressed it. I'm glad they addressed it.
And they did that. Indy did with Dexter Loomis, and which is cool for us fans that pay attention to all the wrestling news sites and stuff. That's good. But yes, CM Punk back in the news. We talked very in depth about CM Punk last episode, so please listen to that. As far as a phrase that I forgot to say last time, he was more or less voted off the island. That's something they've been using as more of a phrase to explain how we talked last episode, how a lot of the upper talent or a lot of talent at AEW were vocal that they don't want to work with CM Punk anymore. So maybe that's partly why they didn't bring him back after his big old brawl with the Elite. But yeah, it sounds like a phrase that Dave Meltzer was saying. It was like, he pretty much got voted off the island. Just the AEW locker room didn't want to work with him.
Oh, man.
But some more news came out. And so with Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez, they actually had Nick Hausman from Wrestling Inc. on their show. And you can watch on their YouTube page. It's about like a 20-something minute segment together, just as they said, reviewing their notes, each of their sides of because they've both been covering the whole CM Punk story, and Nick had some recent news from CM Punk's camp about the whole Larry the Dog situation. So they were just kind of talking, what they both heard, and just really fleshing out the whole latest on CM Punk. And the big takeaway, what a lot of people are running with, which when I heard it, I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but a lot of people are taking that quote from Nick and making a bigger deal. So Nick on Wrestling Observer Radio said, quote, "Cash does not seem to be an issue for this guy. He's got Rodins and Hollywood going on right now. Stephen Amell certainly shining him up. And with what they're trying to do over on Heels right now, I have a lot of people that have known Punk that say to me, this guy's never going to wrestle again." So a lot of people are taking that quote because, Nick is based in Chicago. He knows, I guess, a lot of people from CM Punk's camp, that inner circle over there. So apparently, even though CM Punk's time in AEW seems to be done with the contract buyout that we talked about, it looks, from Nick's words, the guy has plenty of things to do outside of AEW. Looks like some acting, some Hollywood stuff, linking up with Stephen Amell on Heels. Maybe he's got some other opportunities in the acting world. It sounds, and he's good with his money, and if he's getting like a buyout from AEW, that's a lot more millions of dollars coming his way just to sit at home. So apparently he's been really good with his money to begin with. So if, with that being said, he, from a money standpoint, it looks like he doesn't need to wrestle anymore. He's got money to live off of. So there's a follow-up to that. So was it some update on CM Punk? Was a Fightful Select follow-up to all this? So CM Punk said, or they've heard, that CM Punk has no active litigation against, from the whole post All Out backstage incident. But a source to CM Punk said he isn't ruling him out of wrestling again, claiming that the former two-time AEW world champion, quote, got the wrestling bug again. All that considered, it's widely believed that it take quite a bit of time for an in-ring return to be even discussed as Punk recovers from the torn triceps he suffered All Out. With everything unfolding between him and AEW and the timetable for his injury, perhaps all might not be the same when the dust settles, aka I interpret it when he heals up. Right now, he's still got that wrestling bug, but yeah, maybe down the road when he heals up, maybe that will change. Fightful's source, though, does indicate that Punk would have options if he ever does have the desire to return to the squared circle, including the obvious WWE rumors sure to spring up again. Notably, AEW President Tony Khan did happen to name drop Punk in an interview with Busted Open Radio on Wednesday morning, his first such mention of Punk's name since All Out. So, all right, Brian, a couple days ago, everyone thought CM Punk is done with wrestling, never going to wrestle again. Now, the latest update from CM Punk's camp is he does have the wrestling bug, and maybe once he's healed, he might wrestle again. Who knows? I think they're saying that to keep the door open, and people guessing. But yeah, your thoughts on this whole thing?
So it's one of those situations. It's like, okay, if CM Punk were to wrestle again, I think the only fit for him other than AEW, which I felt like obviously was a perfect fit. I know a lot, you know, he came back. It was perfect, right? He was world champ, you know. The only other place I see him going if he were to continue wrestling is WWE.
Yeah,
and
they can afford him.
They can definitely afford him. But see, that depends on how petty CM Punk is, right? Because I feel like Punk, you know, he said a whole bunch of things about WWE, and if Punk is who he says he is, we will never see him back there again, right? But like I said, it depends on how petty he is. It depends on what kind of statement he wants to make, how upset and frustrated he is about how things went down with AEW, the Elite, and Tony Khan. Right?
Does he want to stick to AEW and go back to WWE?
Right. Well, and I say AEW, Tony Khan, and the Elite. Chris Jericho also is, you know,
the whole locker room that voted him off the island. Obviously. He might be saying, "Screw you guys! I'm gonna go back to WWE, the biggest company in the world, and maybe they'll let me cut somewhat of a shoot promo in the ring and call them out somehow. Who knows?"
Can you imagine him coming out on Monday or Fridays and just being given a live mic?
New pipe bomb 2.0 in the WWE space. That would be interesting.
I'm back home.
This is my. I know. Wait, I left sports entertainment. I don't know how long the non-compete is, but let's say it's next year. I left sports entertainment 8 years ago, and I'm back. You know, play on, because when he went to AEW, he cut that promo and said, "I left the wrestling business." When did he sign with WWE back in 07, whatever it was, like 12. He said, 12 years ago? Or, 14? Whatever it was, the number. He says, I haven't, he left pro wrestling world to go with WWE, that's sports entertainment. So he hasn't been a pro wrestler in how long? So, which that promo always did kind of bug me a little bit, because it's like, well, nah, man, like WWE took you to new heights and brought your name to a whole new level and fame and money and recognition. Like, but anyway, that's a whole nother topic. But it'd be interesting. And like I said, we talked in depth if our thoughts on him going back to WWE or not. I know Triple H, word is WrestleVotes or whoever said, like, word is Triple H is open to the idea. But it'd be interesting, like him and CM Punk, what is their relationship? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, they were supposed to have a match at WrestleMania, but CM Punk backstage kind of like a big argument and did not want to have the match with Triple H. Is that what it was?
I think so. I think so. Some along the lines of him wanting him. I think he initially wanted the match, but then didn't want the match. I heard like 2 or 3 different versions of that story. And
so, yeah, does Triple H want to deal with him again? And, I mean, there's so many different ways to look at this. It's like, yeah, WWE could sign him and stick it to AEW. Then again, I'm concerned how would that affect the locker room at WWE. You're bringing that drama over there.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say you got to wonder how the locker room in WWE is going to feel if, something like that were to happen. You don't want to mess up what you got.
Yeah.
I read some reports.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was going to say I read some reports today that the morale and everything in WWE as a whole has been a lot better.
Yeah.
Ever since Vince left, right? So you don't want to mess that up for anybody.
Well, and Triple H is, earning a lot of what's the word? Good points. No, what's the term? I'm trying to think of. From the fan base right now, like the WWE as a whole is kind of winning back the fans with kind of their booking as well. Not all the booking, but things seem to be going in the right direction. So goodwill, they're having a lot of goodwill with the WWE universe right now. So while maybe from a rating standpoint, it might be huge news and buzz to bring CM Punk back, but from behind the scenes, is that the right move? And then long term, like I said, if CM Punk's there for X amount of years, could that affect, future maybe AEW talent wanting to sign with WWE to be like, I don't want to go over there. I'm going to stay in AEW then. So that could be, shooting themselves in the foot by bringing CM Punk to WWE. It kind of ruins out maybe future young talent prospects they want to sign. So I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, it's all speculation. Who knows how CM Punk will feel after I don't know how long it takes to heal. 6-9 months healing from that tricep injury.
Yeah.
He might, 6-9 months time from now be like, never mind. I'd rather just go work in Hollywood and make a good paycheck without putting my body on such, beat up my body. So
Right.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, just want to make that just the latest CM Punk news, which I'm sure we'll hear a lot more over X amount of time. I wonder when CM Punk is healed, if and when he'll give his thoughts. I mean, I know legally he probably can't say much about the brawl, but like maybe his mindset about the wrestling business, what he wants to do. I wonder if he'll be vocal at all on social media or do an interview somewhere. I don't know. We'll see.
Or if he does an interview and he just goes, I'm tired of working with those children.
I'm old. I'm beat up. All that. Speaking of WWE, speaking of goodwill that I just mentioned, something else that's kind of shocking this week. So it was announced that Shinsuke Nakamura is going to be wrestling the Great Muta in a singles match at Noah's the New Year 2023 event on January 1st at Budokan Hall in Japan. So it's going to be Nakamura's first time wrestling in Noah in 9 years. So it's really cool. I know Great Muta is having like a set of retirement matches, and I think it's like it's all going to be that with that first week in January. So yeah, man. This is a lot of people are excited that someone from WWE is being given the green light to go wrestle in a different promotion. So Brian, your thoughts on Shinsuke wrestling against the Great Muta for a Noah?
Well, I think it's great. I remember waking up and seeing the tweet, and I was like, "What? this has got to be a fake graphic, right?"
That's what I think. I saw the graphic. I was like, "Wait, did they just Photoshop Shinsuke on a different wrestling promotion?"
I mean, there's a lot of dream match graphics out there that look real, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but then when I saw Shinsuke posted, I was like, "Wow, like that's really neat," And I think it's a big deal. It's a great thing that Triple H and WWE was able to partner up and make this happen. I think it does a lot for the fans, but it does a lot. I think us as fans, we forget sometimes, like we're so selfish, right? It's like, oh man, it's great. This is great for us. But one thing that struck me and that made me kind of smile was Shinsuke. He put out a tweet. What did he say? He said, hold on, let me go. I'm going to look it up.
Okay. Well, for me, what I thought, it was just cool because like, it's cool to see WWE give permission for one of their talent to go wrestle in a different promotion. Yeah. Because, at the end of the day, they are independent contractors. So it's kind of nice that they're going to let someone wrestle somewhere else. So, and especially for Great Muta, he's one of the legends. I know Sting is going to be part of the festivities or a match that same week as well. So it looks like Great Muta is going to go out with a bang in his retirement week of matches. And so that's cool. Sting, one of his greatest rivals, Shinsuke Nakamura, obviously a Japanese legend. So this is really cool. And apparently these all came together last minute. Like an agreement was made October 26th, so a week ago. Very last minute.
Shinsuke sent out a tweet and said, "This is a miracle," and like as a fan, it kind of makes you, for me personally, it makes me step back and go, "Wow, like this means a lot to him." Like, this probably is bigger for him than, because us as fans, we like to dream book and we look at how certain wrestlers, and I know Shinsuke is part of that bunch of wrestlers who people have looked at over the last few years and gone, oh man, he's being underused. He should go somewhere else. He should go this place. He should go that place. But really, a guy like Shinsuke, all he wants to do is just kind of chill. Probably at this point in his career, surf, make money, tour, go around the world for however long he has left or feels like he wants to do this. But even having the opportunity to do something like this, I think finally now you can finally say, okay, maybe it's not that bad being here. Shinsuke is happy. What does this mean for other talent, other wrestlers? I mean, you see Carl Anderson still being able to, dump his feet in and out of the New Japan door. You know what
Which
I mean?
it was officially revealed it was a work. Like,
yes,
they announced that he will not be at the show November 5th for New Japan. Instead, he's going to be at Crown Jewel. So it was all a work. And apparently, it was revealed that, he knew he got double booked. And so he told New Japan, let's make this into an angle for a little bit. So sorry to break everyone's heart that thought it was real. But sorry, keep going.
Yeah, but it's a cool thing. And it just kind of, I mean, if WWE is going to start, if this is the beginning of them allowing talent to go to, different promotions or even just be a part of big moments, right, for certain wrestlers. I mean, even down the line, like I know that Tony Khan and WWE don't really have that great of a relationship, but who's to say that, one day if something big does happen with Ring of Honor, they don't get a cameo from Kevin Owens or Seth Rollins or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, I hear you. Like you brought up a good point, the cool factor, which, I think a lot of people are like, yeah, this is cool. Like I said, this is another way for WWE to earn some goodwill with the fans. Be like, see, look, we're letting one of our own do something really cool that he wants to do and part of this really fun event overseas. And so, like I said, it just reinforces the goodwill WWE's been building as of late under the Triple H regime. So I respect that. Now, I was just trying to remember. Now, was Noah, when Triple H wanted to do the NXT expansion in different continents, was Noah the promotion that he wanted to buy to make it NXT Japan to turn it into that?
I think so.
I think that's it. So, so a lot of people are conspiracy, like, oh, is he trying to lend Shinsuke to Noah and build a working relationship with them and eventually try to buy them? I mean, that's just one conspiracy I saw online, which I'm like, who knows? I think Triple H right now needs to focus on just Raw and SmackDown and just build that, get ready for WrestleMania season in the near future. Like, don't worry about expansion in other continents. Like, focus on the number one company in the world and just making that, compelling storylines and entertaining for us. Don't get too far ahead of yourself. But with that being said, I think it's just really cool, and it'd be interesting to see what other, maybe down the road, other superstars can go off and do one-off things elsewhere and other promotions and whatnot. So I'm sure it's gonna be really exciting. So yeah, man, looking forward to seeing all that. Also, well, speaking of WWE this weekend, Crown Jewel, from a little real life world news situation here, there is some concern about the safety of WWE right now, considering what's going on in the real world. So it was reported from, was it the Wall Street Journal? Yeah. They did a report saying Saudi Arabia shared intelligence with the United States regarding an imminent threat of an attack from Iran on the kingdom's energy infrastructure. The United States military and other forces located in the Middle East are said to be on, quote, elevated alert level following the warning. So with that being said, a lot of people are concerned, like, WWE is going over to Saudi Arabia this weekend for Crown Jewel with the potential, quote, imminent threat of an attack from Iran on that country. A lot of people are concerned about, the safety of all of WWE going over there. But Brian, you had some clarification, right, about the security and all that stuff, right?
Oh yeah. PW Insider said that they had gotten word that the threat actually isn't supposed to be in Riyadh and like anywhere near where Crown Jewel is going to be.
Okay.
So that's a good thing. And I think that they've had, WWE has had their people looking, all over the place and making sure that they're keeping their talent and everybody out of the line of fire, and so, can only hope for the best. And, they're going to go and they're going to do that show regardless.
I know they get paid $50 million per show. That's a lot of money for just a 3-hour program, 4-hour program, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They're going to pass that up. No, but from and, we were talking before we recorded tonight. Yeah, WWE Superstar has been posting that they already flew over there today and they're over there now. So yeah, if the potential area of attack is way far away, it looks like they could still do this. So, but by all seriousness, we hope everyone's okay and staying safe. I know Meltzer said, quote, from what he heard from his people, the best term regarding Saudi Arabia would be monitoring the situation. All plans for the show at this moment, all plans. Meltzer sometimes he'd run on words. All plans are for the show at this moment, but you can't control the real world. So anyway, from what it sounds like Meltzer said, the show is still going to go on, but they're monitoring the situation. So like, hope everyone stays safe. That's the big thing. So
do you think that it's possible that once this is all done, once this deal is over with, that they go back? Like, do you think there's any talks of extensions or anything like that?
Listen, I know this is Saudi Arabia's attempt for trying to improve their image by having these type of shows every year. It's part of a big agenda to like improve their image. Like, look, we do fun things here and all that stuff. I know there are other people said, oh, it's just propaganda. They're still a bad country. I know a lot of people frown upon this show every year, call it blood money, all that stuff. I understand all that. For me, I guess partly I would like to see maybe WWE after this contract, this deal is up in how many years. I hope maybe they'll just, step away and just, all right, we had a nice, is it a 10-year deal
10
or whatever?
years, yeah.
After the 10 years is up, because like this is year number 5, I want to say, roughly. I'm just guessing. Greatest Royal Rumble. Greatest Royal Rumble is 20. Greatest Royal Rumble is 2018.
Okay.
But then I think they had one before that in 2018 was the DX reunion, right? I think it was the DX stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think 2017 is when it started.
Okay. Yeah.
So for a while they were doing 2 a year, right? Because they did Elimination Chamber this year there.
Yep. They were last. Was it this year? No, it was this year.
Elimination Chamber
was in
February,
Bobby
Lashley
right?
got taken out. Yeah,
That's
Brock
right.
Lesnar won through Austin Theory. I know. Right. For me, like from maybe a PR standpoint, and just I'm tired of people criticizing WWE. I just hope after this deal is up, they just go their separate ways. And that way, WWE doesn't have to deal with people being critical, the haters out there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is a lot of money, and for the shareholders and stuff, they'd be like, whoa, you're giving up $50 million per show? Like, that's a lot of money you're giving up now. So I'm sure money talks, and I would not be surprised if they do sign a new deal or extension or something. I would not be shocked by it.
I say that the one thing, not to keep this going, but one more thing I want to point out, because like in regards to the deal and everyone not really liking it. I think the fact that they were able to break down that wall and make it able for women to compete over there.
True. Yes.
I think that's still a wonderful thing. I've been watching over the last few weeks. Like, okay, they finally announced Bianca and Bailey, right? Who else?
Women's tag titles.
I see they added the tag title, so I'm like, okay, we got some women still going over there and competing. So, and I know for the talent, while us as fans and people, have their personal opinions, the talent I'm sure they have theirs too. They probably look at this as an opportunity to go down there and at least try to make a change. You know.
That's true. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people are like, oh, if they're making change, they should be doing this, this, and this. And I'm like, well, things don't happen overnight. It takes time. I mean, the first couple shows, like no women wrestlers. Then they started adding them. And then, of course, they got to wear like the full cover outfits.
Yeah.
Because that's, part of their religion beliefs or whatever over there. Their standards and practices. So, things take time. So, I want to be optimistic that this actually does bring some good and maybe, it changes, things for the better. Like I said, I'm just trying to be optimistic. But then again, I'm concerned about, I hope from a safety standpoint, everything works out just fine for the long term. There was that, plane ride from hell, but like they thought a hostage situation a couple years ago.
Yeah, man.
So like I said, if WWE can make money and everyone stays safe and, actually does some positive good, then let them keep doing it. but also with Crown Jewel, and I'll save this more for the predictions, but I treat Crown Jewel more like always like an exhibition. It's like, stuff that happens there. It's just more just to entertain those people on that, that pay for it. WWE's just doing it because it's, on the calendar, but like all the major storylines will kick back into gear once that's over. So, but yeah, we'll get into more of that with the prediction stuff. Well, speaking of WWE and the storylines, so we see like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they were like, acknowledging each other on SmackDown for a few weeks, and then Kevin Owens just been gone off TV, and all people were like, whoa, what happened? I thought him and Sami Zayn were, starting a storyline, and was Kevin Owens going to try to interfere with the Bloodline's business? But he just disappeared. It's like, boom, he just vanished. So apparently there's a reason for that. It's because Triple H's plans for Kevin Owens on pause due to the white hot SmackDown star, referring to Sami Zayn. And I know Kevin Owens, the only time we seen him recently was on the October 18th episode of NXT. That was before Halloween Havoc. But apparently, let's see, WrestleVotes, when speaking with Give Me Sport, is now reporting that KO isn't on TV because Triple H has paused his plans due to how over Sammy's involvement with the faction has gone, aka the Bloodline. Quote, he was paid to get involved with Sammy and the Bloodline, referring to Kevin Owens, but that's white hot right now. Those plans, from what I've been told, are definitely pushed back, but they're not off because the plan is for Kevin Owens to be with Sami Zayn. He also added, whatever they had planned for Kevin Owens is totally on pause because this stuff with Sammy doesn't come around often. This was supposed to be a little 3 or 4 week comedy deal. It's getting big. So, yeah, Brian, your thoughts on there's your explanation why Kevin Owens has just kind of disappeared from TV, because Sami Zayn's been so over, and they're making this story go on a little bit longer. But yeah, your thoughts on it?
I think it's the right call. Sami Zayn has gotten bigger, like so big, even bigger than I thought that he would be. Right? I remember I had conversations with my cousin not too long ago, and he's like, "Sami Zayn's great." Oh. I'm like, he's all right, But Sami Zayn, he's become like a huge, if not the biggest. One of the biggest, top two or three stars in the company right now, in terms of who's over. If he, I don't know how well the Honorary Uce shirt is doing in terms of merch sales, right? But it's got to be doing well. I think it's perfect because then you could stretch this story out just a tad bit more. And once they announce the Elimination Chamber for Montreal, right, which is Sammy's hometown, if I'm not mistaken, right? He's from Montreal, right?
Yeah, is he? Or Quebec. Let me see. No, he is French Canadian. Yeah, because he. Yeah. Let's see. Kevin is. Yeah, he's billed from Montreal, Quebec. Yeah.
Okay. So, I think that
which Shawn Michaels is the daddy of, right? Montreal, who's your daddy?
Oh man,
that's such a great segment. Like, how many years was that after the screw job?
Man,
like 10 years later, he's on Raw. Montreal, who's your daddy? Oh, wait, didn't he play Bret Hart's music?
He came out today.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Sorry not to go on a tangent.
That was great stuff. But like I said, I feel like that's a perfect opportunity to resume, or maybe they can resume it, towards the end of this year and conclude it in Montreal. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people were expecting and hoping for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens to win the tag team titles. Yeah. Mm-hmm. To finally be the ones to take it off the Usos. I feel like Montreal Elimination Chamber, that'd be the perfect time. And if not, you could. I know the talks of Sammy potentially being, the one to dethrone our tribal chief.
Yeah.
of his championship. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that would ever happen. We're in a different WWE now, right? Like, Triple H is in charge of the booking, so really anything can happen.
The surprises,
if Vince was still in charge, then I would say no, that's never going to happen. In fact, I actually said no, it's never going to, because my cousin was telling me he needs to be world champ. I'm like, he's like, he needs to win the Money in the Bank. He's not winning Money in the Bank. Sorry, it's not happening.
Well, I saw was it online. One person said, wouldn't it be cool if Roman WrestleMania weekend fights The Rock night one, just to decide who's the tribal chief, the true tribal chief, head of the table. Even the titles don't even need to be on the line. Rock can be like, I don't need the title. It's just about pride. Right. And then night two can be against Cody Rhodes, the winner of the Royal Rumble. Like, this is all fantasy booking, by the way. And then let's say, last episode we talked about the idea of Money in the Bank moved back to WrestleMania. What happened if they do it this year, this coming WrestleMania? Sami's in it, wins it, and let's say Roman beats Cody Rhodes night two, and he's beat up from 2 nights of wrestling. The Rock and Cody. He's in the ring celebrating, and what happens? Sami's music hits. He runs down and cashes in on Roman and wins the title, and then you end on a happy note. Sami is the new WWE champion. I mean, that's just one thing I saw on Twitter. I don't know. That's a really big discussion point. Maybe we should save that for a separate video or podcast, right? Because there's a lot of discussion. I've seen both sides discussed online. Like, some people are saying he's the new true next big baby face. He should want to beat Roman. And then there's some people, no, he's not a main eventer. He should not be the one to do it. So that could be a great discussion point.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack with that. And because then you have to, it would be a great moment. It would be nice to get a huge crowd reaction.
It'll be up there. It'll be up there with Bryan Danielson winning, Kofi. It'll be like that type of moment. Oh, yeah. But then you'd have to book him as champion going forward. Yeah, and what do you do after? Yeah,
I feel like on the road to something like that, him taking the championship away from Roman, you'd have to build him up to be, he'd have to be, mega Sami Zayn, right? Like,
well, dude, like, imagine if he, bust out some of his old offense on Roman Reigns, the tornado DDT through the middle of the ropes. He's doing NXT. Well, he used to do that Ring of Honor NXT. Then hits imagine he hits Roman with a brainbuster on the turnbuckle. Like, bust out his old offense. People would pop because he hasn't done it for so long. And then a haluva kick. And then imagine, let's hypothetically he does beat Roman, he becomes champion, and Kevin Owens comes down to the ring, and you think about NXT when Sami won the title. Kevin Owens turned on him and powerbombed him on the apron, but this time around he actually hugs him, and then you end on a Hollywood ending. You end on a happy note like that.
They could have their WrestleMania 20 moment.
Yeah,
like, maybe by then the titles will be split, and maybe both of them. That'd be a cool thing. See, everyone's showing Sami love. We got to give Kev, and imagine how crazy that would be, right? They both had crazy moments at WrestleMania this year, right? Kevin Owens with Austin and Sami Zayn with Johnny Knoxville.
Are you talking about, with Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero celebrating? Yeah. Oh, man. I don't know. I'm just thinking. It's going to be interesting what they do here. Like I said, that's a bigger discussion point about Sami Zayn and what they want to do with him, because I feel like what is the better call? Is it to be the one to challenge Roman Reigns, or would it be better for him to win the tag titles with Kevin Owens? So, for me personally, I'm just thinking. Well, okay, as far as Kevin Owens' plans being put on hold, I'm all for it. I'm actually kind of glad they're putting it off, because the stuff with Bloodline is so good. It would have sucked if it was done in 3 to 4 weeks. I like that they're going to stretch out for maybe for a few months, because every week it's like the most fun, important thing to talk about every week. And so I'm glad that they're not pulling the plug on it yet, and they're going to let this marinate for a while.
Well, yeah, now it feels like, okay, Sami's really a part of the Bloodline. At first, you could kind of see where they could have pulled the plug and been like, no. But now I feel like this makes it better. It makes the Bloodline stronger.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn's really, I think he's really freshened up the Bloodline.
The faction, yeah.
he's given now. He's made a reason for the Usos to continue to be tag champs, and even Roman, right? Because I know people were like, "Oh, Roman, he needs to drop one of the titles, or he needs to drop them both." But I really feel like Sami being a part of the Bloodline makes them even stronger. So now the talk is, "Oh, keep the title on him," you know.
Well, for me, it's like, okay, if they would have broke up Sami from the Bloodline in like 3 to 4 weeks. Would have been what, in October or November? I'd rather them stretch this out, and then if him and Kevin Owens reunite, I think that's better for a WrestleMania stage. So I'm actually glad they're gonna push this for the next few months. You know what I mean? Like I'm actually glad for this because it's gonna lead to WrestleMania. Like I'm all for that. So I'm all for them, pushing this back and letting this ride for a bit. Like I said, maybe for a future episode, let's dig more deep into I suspect maybe we'll get a fan email about this, like who should be the one to dethrone Roman, and we can go through all the possible candidates, and with that we can go maybe more in-depth chat about Sami Zayn, the pros and cons of him winning or not winning, because like what's better, him beating Roman or him reuniting with Kevin Owens and winning the tag titles at WrestleMania? What's a better moment? What's a more realistic moment? What's better for the fans and for maybe the company and the roster? Like I said, that's a more longer conversation we can have about that. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm all for them putting this on hold. And yeah, just props to Sami Zayn. Like I said, we can go. There's so much to talk about Sami Zayn. I'm holding back right now.
Did you see what he said about his theme music and about how he was glad? I forgot who he was talking to or where he said it, but I think he mentioned someone had asked him about his theme music, and he says that he's glad that that it changed because he said he'd had that one for so long and it was harder to dance to that one than it is to the one that he has now.
yeah. No, I mean, I'm sure he likes the character change. This is something different for him. So, like I said, there's so much to talk about Sami Zayn. Like I'm holding back right now because like I can open up more and give my thoughts on this. There's so much, but for the sake of time and stuff, we have a bunch of other stuff to get into. But I'm with you. There's so much to discuss with Sami Zayn. Not to sound like a broken record. We'll get into it on a separate podcast. But speaking of SmackDown, let's go ahead, jump within the ropes, talk about SmackDown Raw for this week. So SmackDown this week, the big takeaway was the Bloodline, Sami Zayn, that promo in the ring. So this show started off with Sami Zayn, Solo Sikoa, taking on Ridge Holland and Butch. In the opening tag match, what's it? Brawling Brutes, right?
Brawling Brutes.
A banger after banger after banger. But that opening tag match, the Brawling Brutes win, partly because the Bloodline, the friction, Jey and them getting Sami still arguing stuff, and
Brawling Brutes have become some fan favorites too.
Dude, Sheamus has become one of the best wrestlers for that company in the last 2 years. Yeah. Like really, when he says banger after banger after banger, it's true. And I did ask Sheamus about that at SummerSlam last year in Las Vegas. I said, dude, what fountain of youth have you been drinking? Because all of a sudden these last year, at that point, year and a half, he's been putting on these incredible matches, and the Thunderdome and back on the road and stuff. And he said he felt he was at a point where, I have to find that clip. I should maybe isolate it. But he said he felt at the point where, he needed to make a change and get back on TV more. And so he knew he had to kind of change up his matches and just to win back people and stuff. So I give him credit for just going out there and at his age still reinventing himself and putting on these classic matches to kind of get recognition again. So he really made the effort. So because of that, Roman Reigns comes out. It's like the dad coming home and the kids are fighting. So, comes in after commercial break. He's in the ring and he says, I don't like to do this stuff backstage. I like to handle this in the ring. And, Sami grabs a mic and, says, hey, Jey just hasn't been himself. He hasn't been feeling too Ucey. Everyone started laughing, cracking up, and then that broke the Bloodline. They started corpsing, they started laughing. This was hilarious. Jay's trying to keep a straight face. Jimmy's in the background. Paul's smiling. Solo, we never saw. He never showed him on camera, so who knows if he was laughing or not. And Roman's trying to keep a straight face too, but he starts like grinning. Jay's trying to cover his face, and Roman's like, "Oh, Jey, you're not feeling Ucey?" He just kept playing, like going, like acknowledging Ucey. You're not feeling Ucey? And
is that what this is all about?
That's all about. You're not feeling Ucey? What did you think of this whole segment?
I thought it was great. Every week it seems like the segments that they're all involved in just get better and better and better. And like we just got done talking about how good Sami Zayn is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, did they know he was going to say that? And is it?
Well, Brian Alvarez, I heard, like Sami said Ucey before. I just don't know when. He says he said it once before on TV, but it didn't really pick up like it did now, which I was like,
well, and I just find it weird. Jey Uso's name on Instagram is Ucey Juicy. So, So it made me laugh because it's just like, yo, is he like trolling Jey? Everyone talks about how he's making them break and stuff, and it seems intentional, but no, it really does seem intentional at this point. Like he's really trying to get them to like laugh. And it's working.
Well, because, he's got the long, shaggy hair. He's got the big beard. His facial reactions are funny. Like, all that combined, he's just a character. Mm-hmm. And I would love to know what because you notice when Roman's talking and, like, you see Sami in the background, like, saying stuff still. I wish we could hear what he's saying. I was trying to mouth read him, but I wonder if he's saying other things to make him laugh. But I love this segment because then Jey was laughing. He's trying to turn away from the hard cam, and Roman's like, "No, man, you stay right here." He grabs him by the neck. It's like, "You stay right here." Like, it's like you're gonna laugh with me.
I love how the camera didn't like turn or change to something.
Multiple
I love
cuts,
how I love how it was just simple. Though it was shot perfectly, and I also think that while we've been on the topic of Sami Zayn, I think Jey Uso deserves some credit too. He's been really, really well in this whole storyline. Like even when Roman had told him to take the shirt off, and then Jey ripped the shirt off, and Jay's pacing around the ring. He's like, "Take it off!" Right?
Well, the thing, it's like, which segment's better, the T-shirt segment or this segment, the Ucey segment? I mean, they're both great in their own way. From a suspense standpoint, that maybe the T-shirt one. But from like an actual just entertainment, it's the Ucey one.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to categorize it. You know, suspense wise, it would definitely be the T-shirt. But man,
like we're all watching this and we all know what's going on. We're laughing. Like that's a great segment, I think, for anyone to watch. Be like, see, this is why I love pro wrestling. It's like they're trying to be serious, but we know at the end of the day they're entertainers, and they're not perfect. It's like Saturday Night Live. Sometimes people break and they can't keep in character,
and it's very rare, in WWE. Like we're seeing a lot more of it now. Like people seem more comfortable and be themselves. Like I'm just glad that they went out there and they're not, and we haven't really seen much. I mean, I was gonna say I'm glad that they're not going out there being robots, right? Which obviously Roman Reigns, he doesn't go out there like we get it's as real as it gets with Roman, right? But I'm just glad that Sami's able to go out there and really express himself, really just let loose and be free. And even with Jimmy and Jey, like Jimmy Jey Solo now, Heyman, it's just like at first the whole thing was just getting kind of stale, and now it's just you get excited when you see all of them on the screen in the ring. You don't know what you're gonna get, and it's become a thing over the past few weeks, right? Like Sami Zayn interrupting Roman. I mean, you'd have to think now, at what point is Roman going to get tired of Sami Zayn interrupting him, right?
I wonder, maybe when they do turn on him, it's in Montreal.
Oh, no.
They turn on him in Montreal, and then the fans are going to be rooting for Sami.
Oh,
I think that'd be epic. And then, like, if they want to keep it to Sami wins the tag titles with Kevin Owens, then maybe Kevin makes the save there.
Yeah.
It makes the save.
I like your idea better. That
it
is
has to be Montreal Elimination Chamber. Like, Sami does something, screws up, and they finally had it with him, and they all turn and beat him up. And unless they do
Elimination Chamber, Montreal, and then the next night maybe they do somewhere else in Canada or something. I don't know.
Maybe. But I think that's where they got beat him down. Like, yeah. I know blood is not the norm in WWE, but like really like bleed him up like that from a visual dramatic standpoint. That would be epic. And then Kevin makes the save, and that would heighten things with Roman Reigns as a heel. No, but this segment alone was just so entertaining. And no, it was very fun. And on the subject of Roman, let's just jump to Raw real quick as far as Roman's promo that night. He makes a rare appearance on Monday Night Raw, comes out. And the big story they're trying to tell with Paul Heyman and Logan Paul is like Paul Heyman's trying to warn him that, Logan Paul has like a plate in his hand and, what the bolts in there, whatever it is. So, he could be a threat. If he lands one lucky punch, he could really knock you out. And Roman's like, I don't care. And he's getting pissed. We see The Miz come out, and he's like, hey, I brought Logan Paul to WWE. I know him. I can help you take him out. And then if you help him, you help me like take out Dexter Lumis. And Roman's like, oh, let me hear you out. And then sure enough, he knocks him out. He's like, oh, he's going to try and knock me out like this, and knocks out Miz. I thought that was a great segment.
Yeah, definitely.
But the point I'm getting at is afterwards, he's walking up the ramp, and there's this video that's online. And he's like, this is my company. This is my camera. This is my show. And like, I'm paraphrasing here, but he was going off. Like, he's pissed off that people actually think Logan Paul has a chance against him. He's like, I'm, in God mode. How dare you doubt me, question me? And you and I were going back and forth on it. I think, if they want to do the Rock Roman stuff at WrestleMania, that could be planting the seeds there. Like, they could save that video clip and clip it. And next year, Rock comes back and he says, you think you're ahead of the table? I saw this clip here. You saying this is your company, you're the head of the table? It's like, I think that could be used for a future storyline purpose. I don't know what you think about that whole thing.
I agree. It's one of those, it's like a perfect package, right?
Yeah.
They could play that over and over and over, and it could be something like you said that they go back to if and when it's time to do The Rock and Roman, something to go back to. Rock and reference in one of his promos if and when he comes back. So I think it was great, and it also brings some, every now and then Roman will have that fire in him. Lately he's been low key. He's beat everyone, right? He doesn't really feel like anyone's a threat to him at the moment, but the fact that Paul Heyman even is like, hey, watch out, it makes him mad. So I'm glad when he left the ring, he had something to get off his chest, and kind of like I'm tired of this. And he always gets in this mode right before a match. Always.
Well, like that outburst, like show some fire. And Paul Heyman, like in the background, finally, instead of looking nervous, he was like smiling, like my job is done. Like
I'm glad you caught that.
I woken up the monster. My work here is done. But before I forget, real quick, the Sami Zayn. Now that clip of the Waffle House, like he was doing an interview with Caleb Braxton. He says, "I'm going to take you guys to the Waffle House," and then Jay sat up, was like, "Really?" Like he's all happy, and Jimmy's and Solo are laughing. Was that an online interview?
Yeah, that was on SmackDown Lowdown. So it's the thing that they film. It's like Raw Talk.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
SmackDown,
okay,
that airs the next day. So it airs on Saturday.
Okay, so he wanted to make it up to him, taking him to Waffle House. Oh, that's so good. Oh man. So we'll talk more about Roman in the predictions real quick. Also with SmackDown, the other big thing was Emma made her big, or aka Tennille Dashwood, make her big return to WWE after 5 years. So Ronda had the open challenge for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and Emma answered the call, and it's cool. Welcome back, Emma.
Welcome back.
5 years back in 5 years to the day she got released apparently, and then she signed a new deal and will be on the SmackDown brand. So yeah, it's very cool to see her back. What'd you think?
I thought it was good. I didn't think that her and Ronda, the chemistry was like, It was just like you can tell that Emma was trying to, just go out there and have a good match, right? But it was what it was.
Yeah, no,
I love the tarantula she did on the ropes. That was neat.
And to give Emma credit, for anyone who doesn't know who Emma is,
right?
I know Ronda's joking when she was walking to the ring trying to do the clumsy Emma. Emma did the goofy dance. That was with Santino, right? Yep. Mm-hmm. But when she was in NXT,
it was like the pop in the bubbles.
Yeah, that's right.
She had bubbles.
When she was in NXT, her and Paige fought for be the first ever NXT Women's Championship. Am I right? Is that?
Yep, that's right.
And they had a really good match, and I think a lot of people see that as kind of influence for the women's revolution in WWE. Like, these two women had an incredible match, and it's see, post Divas era, you can sign credible, hardworking, badass female wrestlers. They'll put on amazing matches. So Paige and Emma kind of laid the blueprint for that. So to Emma's credit, I think that's something she doesn't maybe get acknowledged enough of, and so that was cool to see her back and stuff. And real talk, she's goes out with Madcap Moss, so it's cool she's on SmackDown with him. So couples can travel together and stuff. So, but Ronda, I do want to say she's much better as a heel. I feel she's more natural on the microphone. She doesn't need to worry about trying to cater to the fans. She can just speak her mind much better. Saw the backstage segment. Her and Shayna Baszler look like they're back on the same page. Shayna Baszler choked out Natty. I'm like, could this be the new 2-woman power trip?
Badass.
I
thought that was perfect.
Yeah,
I thought that was perfect. And I really want Ronda to speak less and hurt more. I want her to go out there, even in an open challenge, when she grabbed the mic, it just still feels a little forced. I want her to bring whatever I've been seeing. WWE social medias have been uploading a lot of stuff that they do on the house show stuff a lot more lately.
Yeah, I noticed that on Instagram they don't post photos anymore. They just post reels, like outside of TV footage, footage from the crowd. I know it looks like cell phone footage, but I know they have high quality DSLR cameras filming the same stuff you see on TV, but at a different angle. So they're just posting reels now all the time, not actually posting photos anymore.
I'm not sure what the strategy is there, but I did notice that, and I was like,
From what I've been told, reels is the new thing on Instagram. That's what's taken off. That gets the most engagement. So they're probably all right, these videos are going to get more engagement than a photo. That's my only guess.
Well, and also in terms of exclusive, right? Because anybody can upload pictures. A lot of people usually take the pictures and upload them on their pages and stuff. So in order to get people to come to look at their stuff, why not just film these hot things, segments, and spots and from different angles? I know that one involving Lashley and Lesnar with the table spot. That was pretty sweet angle that they filmed it.
Yeah, we'll get into that too. Congrats, welcome back, Emma. Ronda, much better character work as of late. Can't wait to see what her and Shayna do. It's Triple H loves Shayna Baszler, so I love that he's making her a badass as well, like she was on NXT, rehabilitating her character. Real quick, I just want to mention Shinsuke Nakamura was Hit Row's tag partner, taking on Legado del Fantasma in a 6-man tag. Now, this match, while they had a rivalry in NXT when Swerve was down there, now I thought they just kind of rushed into this rivalry too soon on SmackDown, because when this match happened, I feel like both teams are both fresh to the SmackDown roster. Both of them can't really afford a loss right now, so that's why I was kind of a little bummed that they got into this program already. Ultimately, Hit Row and Shinsuke defeat Legado del Fantasma, which I feel bad for Legado. Like, they just debuted a few weeks ago and they've already taken a loss. Like, it's the new hot thing, new hot toy for SmackDown. So I don't know. Did you feel the same way at all with that?
I didn't really have an issue with them losing or even the fact that they're revisiting this feud, only because I feel like, I kind of feel like, Triple H is in charge now. I feel like he's trying to get some of these feuds that happened in NXT that maybe didn't have a proper payoff.
Or
right?
recycle them.
Recycle it and get it hot again. And I mean, I'm just happy that it as a group, Legado got their first loss, and it was against a team like Hit Row, someone who I felt like needed the win. They had been losing, and I believe they had just lost in a tag team match.
That's right.
To Legado. So,
yeah. You're right.
Kind of like so it's kind of like a trading wins there, and then
50-50,
50-50, and then also I'm just I think the real important thing for Legado is Santos Escobar. Like, as long as he's not losing any singles matches right off the gate, or good point, or taking the pin, then I'm all for that. But for Hit Row, I feel like they needed it. They've been on the SmackDown roster longer than Legado, and they've taken a few more losses than them, so I feel like they needed it.
No, that's a good point. No, I'm glad you said that. And I do think with Santos, that's money right there. I know, listen, for the last 10, 15 years, I think fans have always said, like, who's going to be the next Eddie Guerrero? And there's been different, Mexican wrestlers who've been on the roster, and people thought, is this the next Eddie Guerrero? You look at Andrade, Angel Garza, Angel's like just like a tag team thing right now. It's like there's been guys up there who's like people are thinking, could this be the next Eddie Guerrero? I think Santos, not to put a label on him, I very much want him to have his own identity and character and be his own person, but I think he could be potentially an Eddie Guerrero. And something friends have told me, Santos can speak English very well, and he can speak Spanish. Like, he can do both. Like, he's really good on the microphone. Like, he can jump from English to Spanish like that, no problem. Very, very well spoken either way. So that's money right there. As far as depending where they're at, if they're in the U.S. or Mexico or something. Obviously, in-ring skills wise, he's great. So no, I really want to see Santos do well, and hopefully in the coming years he can really rise up to maybe a main event type scenario like Eddie Guerrero once was. So that'd be great. I'm really rooting for Santos on the main roster. I was really excited for him. Yeah. And then last thing, real quick, we just want to touch for SmackDown. Bray Wyatt's promo. Once again, he's kind of cutting another promo just in regular clothes. Gets interrupted by a figure on the big screen with a mask. Revealed himself to be Uncle Howdy. Like, Twitter is funny because some people are like, that was awesome, that was great, creepy. Some people are like, man, what joke is this? This looks ridiculous. And for me, I see both sides, not to cop out and just say I'm like down the middle.
Yeah.
I see the goofiness there. I get it. But at the same time, I love WWE, and I'm all for enjoying the ride for what it is and seeing what this payoff is. So it didn't really faze me as much as some people did. But yeah, what you think about the Uncle Howdy debut on SmackDown?
So I know a lot of people, as soon as I saw the reveal, I was like, a lot of people are going to be so upset that it's someone wearing a mask. Allegedly, when people think it's Bray Wyatt wearing a mask. Right? And so I was like, oh man, if it's Bray wearing a mask, this isn't gonna last very long, right?
Like talking to himself, like he's fighting against himself. Like, is that what this is?
Right, but then when there were talks of him possibly coming back to WWE. I'd seen a report of him wanting to do like a 3 Faces of Foley, and even during the White Rabbit campaign, there were talks of 6 different personalities and stuff. So if that was the case, I feel like that would still be fine.
Yeah,
like if he was playing Uncle Howdy and he had all these different personalities and things talking to him, and I feel like that would still be okay. But
so okay, Bray comes out and he says that this is just him as a man. He wasn't hiding behind a mask anymore, and he was here to do big things. And but sometimes he does lose control of himself. He said he didn't care if he did horrible things before. But then, that's when we saw Uncle Howdy, and Uncle Howdy said that they were the ghosts of the man who sold the world, and said that Bray would never be able to hide from him. So a couple things, is it Bray in a pre-taped video package as Uncle Howdy? Some people noticed the earring, and it's like an earring Bo Dallas has worn. So is it Bo Dallas behind the mask? The mask itself, if you kind of look at it, it kind of looks like Barry Windham, which is Bo and Bray's uncle. So is Uncle Howdy a play on Barry Windham in some ways?
Right.
Uncle Barry. So I'll see how it goes. My thing is, though, I'm worried that if he cuts just too many promos and there's no actual in-ring action, people are going to get bored with this. So I'm with you. It's like, well, I hope this is long-term storing. I hope there is going to be some payoff with some like in-ring action. Mm-hmm. So I know they said Bray's going to make an appearance at Crown Jewel. So hopefully get a big story beat moment there. Maybe we get Uncle Howdy in person there. So
hopefully something. I mean, I know we're probably going to get another QR code and stuff, but even hopefully it's something. I mean, they said Bray was going to be at Crown Jewel, right? Like,
yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
So all right.
We'll
I wonder
see.
how they're gonna squeeze time in for that.
Oh, man, we'll see. All right, let's move on to Monday Night Raw real quick. I know this is another long episode. Thank you everyone for bearing with us. But hey, so much going on. Hopefully we're making up for lost time with lack of episodes, previously. We'll jump with Raw. We'll talk about just some of the big highlights. Talked about Roman already. I do want to talk about the women's tag titles, but first I do want to talk about Johnny Gargano and the big reveal of Miz's secret in a tell-all interview. So we know Miz has
WWE investigates
Byron Saxton. So listen, I know we talked about this. Miz has been like being stalked by Dexter Lumis, hunting him down, going to his home, attacking him in matches, kidnapping him, beating him up, choking him out. But Johnny confronts Miz a couple times, says, I know what's really going on here. You better tell or I will. Finally, Johnny gave up on Miz. Miz said, no, I'm not going to do it. So Johnny has a sit-down interview with Byron Saxton and reveals what happened. And, in the tell-all interview, he just pretty much admitted that, Miz paid Dexter Lumis to attack him and stalk him for the attention. Let me see. I'm just looking. What's the other? Is anything specific quote wise? Am I missing here? Man, so much happened on Raw this week. Sorry. Let's see. So he revealed he had an audio recording of The Miz talking about paying Dexter Lumis to attack him. So we heard the audio clip there. And then, Johnny theorized that Miz paid Dexter to attack him to get out of matches he could not win, but eventually must have stopped paying him, causing Dexter to turn on him. So, that's why Dexter's now cutting him down. And, Miz wants the attention, because that's kind of like the thing in Hollywood. There are some people who faked attacks on themselves to get the attention. We've seen that, in recent years. So, Brian, are you happy with this conclusion, this explanation for the Miz and Dexter Lumis storyline? Are you okay with it?
Yes and no. Yes, because I feel like if this was if this was the plan all along, then they did a really great job of not like blowing it, or because I don't think anyone could have predicted that this was happening because Miz just wanted attention, right? But at the same time, it's a great recovery too. I mean, I'm thinking about, okay, maybe plans changed because Tommaso Ciampa's out with an injury,
the hip injury. Yeah.
So maybe plans changed. So great recovery, or I think that it's a little weird because why would Dexter Lumis? I mean, okay, he lost his job, so that's why he'd need the money, right?
That's why he needed the money. The reenactments were great. Like Johnny playing all the different characters, the blurry.
Johnny did those perfectly, man.
But I guess it does make sense. Dexter was out of a job, so he needed money, so Miz paid him. So, and I guess kayfabe, he still doesn't have a contract with WWE, so maybe they do wrestle at some point. Miz and Dexter, winner, or if Dexter wins, he gets a contract. Maybe that's the bigger payoff here. But I enjoyed it. It was comedic. It was a little campy, obviously. Wasn't as shocking maybe as some people. I mean, fans were like speculating, did Dexter do bodily harm to Miz when he kidnapped him?
Well, and I think even the explanation, them showing Miz like when he kidnapped Miz and how Miz just kind of walked backwards, I thought that was great. Like stuff like that I was like, okay,
little detail, the
little details like that, like that's perfect. And while most people look at this whole situation and go, oh, that's it, it's just I can appreciate the little details like that because it takes effort. Like they could have easily just been like, oh, it's because you did this or you did that. They really went into a whole thing, shot Gargano, reenacting all these different.
Well, it's at least like here in this situation, there is a payoff. How many times we've seen under Vince, maybe these different storylines, and there's no payoff. They like maybe just drop a story and they give up, and there's no finale, or there is a payoff and it's not that good. Like with Red Beer, Eric Rowan, what was
that dang spider,
goofy spider in a cage, and the payoffs sometimes are kind of goofy. So this one I think is a little bit better compared to the past, what we're conditioned to. But yeah, so
well, and to just think that it's still not done either, right? Like we still got to hear the Miz's part in all this. I'm sure he's gonna have a huge explanation, right? And then Dexter Lumis, like you said, like, does the match eventually happen? Does he get a contract just because people feel bad for him because he's been promised money and he hasn't gotten it? Whatever, what actually happens? I think is gonna play a big part into this whole thing too. So.
And then it was cool seeing Matt Riddle take on Otis in a trick or treat trick or street fight. So a match like that normally, thought would only be under Vince McMahon. I guess Triple H was like, okay, we can set up one of those type of goofy matches. I mean, I guess it was a 5-4 reported they scraped the idea of doing like a Halloween party. Thank God, those are usually pretty ridiculous. But Riddle coming out dressed like Ezekiel, that was pretty funny. So with Elias there. So it looks like him and Elias are buddies right now. So that's kind of an interesting partnership, which, we could talk maybe more next time about that partnership, our thoughts on that.
Right.
Seth Rollins took on Austin Theory, defeated him. Seth Rollins now a little blonde streaks in his hair, got some blonde in there again. It's not one side like the old Shield days and NXT days, but, it's more like more flowing through the whole set of hair.
Yeah, it's like a full streaks.
Yeah, which is okay, cool, something different. He kind of teased it over at Sheamus's wedding. He posted a photo of like blonde hair, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, he's back!" Well, it's a little bit different, but yeah, something different. Maybe Becky was like, "Yeah, I gotta change your look up a little bit. Come on."
Yeah.
So, but he did pick up the victory, so good for him. Starting to
great match too.
Yeah, and collect some wins. Austin Theory, another loss though. I don't know what's going on.
Another loss, but I do think that Austin Theory has been really performing well in these matches that he's losing in, right? And maybe that's the bigger picture. I feel like maybe the goal is to just have Austin Theory have these matches with all these people, have them be, because for the most part, I feel like every Austin Theory match, whether it's with Chad Gable or Riddle or Styles or whoever, they're always really, really good matches. And this one was like pay-per-view level, like could have been for the United States title level type of match. And so, I think maybe the goal is to get him in that, get him out of that conversation of can he hang? Does he belong here? Is he a main event level guy? Put him in there with main event level guys. And yeah, he's not going to pick up a bunch of wins right now, but eventually he'll get there.
Yeah. So, great for Austin Theory. Definitely just want to see him kind of progress in the ring and, hopefully just get some more credibility. So when he does cash in, it's a little more believable when that does happen. Last thing from Raw I want to touch on before we get into the predictions real quick. So the main event, so we saw Bianca Belair in the beginning of the show take on Nikki Cross. She did win. Damage Control comes out, beating her down. A returning Asuka from injury, and Alexa Bliss comes running down, makes the save, and Asuka and Alexa Bliss challenge Damage Control, Dakota Kai and Io Sky for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles, and that was the main event here. Great, main event here, and then the shocker, Alexa Bliss and Asuka win. They defeat Damage Control to become the new Women's WWE Tag Team Champions. Twitter afterwards, a lot of people were kind of furious with this booking decision, and conversation was very heated over the next 24 hours over this. So Brian, I definitely want to ask you, do you think this was the right call? Are you cool with this, or should have been something different? Is Damage Control in trouble now as just credibility as a faction?
Right.
What's your head thinking right now with everything?
Is Damage Control damaged?
Yes.
I feel like, I was happy with the decision only because, why not? Main event, Raw, yeah, it's go home show to Crown Jewel. A lot of people always talk about how a lot of go home shows aren't really newsworthy. Like everyone always leaves a go home show talking about how bad it was. And so I don't know. I feel like it's something different. I know the women's tag titles don't really have a good reputation right now, just because of how serious, the lack of serious that is the division's been taken. There aren't many tag teams to go for. But let's say if you have two, right, Alexa and Asuka and Damage Control, and if that's your two, and you have championships, and yeah, I know a lot of people say you should scrap them and whatnot, but they're not going anywhere. The titles aren't going anywhere. You don't have very many teams, so yeah. You don't want to have one team continue to lose every single time they go up against each other, right? So So this time, Alexa Bliss and Asuka picked up the win. They became new champions. They got a chip on their shoulder. They got taken out by Damage Control, right, for a couple of weeks. They came back. They got the job done, and looks like they're gonna defend them again on Saturday at Crown Jewel, right? So
yeah,
this could lead to something bigger, I think, right? Unless we're just going back to the old booking, right? I think it's too early to judge on whether this is a time to panic for the women's division as a whole, or the tag team women's division. I think it's a little too early. I think we got to wait and see what happens at the Crown Jewel.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I saw some people complain, like, okay, come on, Asuka and Alexa Bliss make their big return after being off TV for a while, and right away they get a title shot. Like, from a storyline standpoint, that doesn't make sense. And then if you're Damage Control and you're the heels, you'd be like, nah, you haven't earned anything. Like, you're at the back of the line right now. You got to earn an opportunity. It's like, why agree to a match?
Well, and that's true, but like I said, there aren't many tag teams already people complain when WWE just puts random people together, right? I mean, if anyone, if we're talking, you only get a championship opportunity if you earn one, deserve one. It's going to take a few weeks, maybe a month or two, for a new tag team to form, and then for them to prove themselves as a legit tag team to go up against Damage Control. In the meantime, Damage Control don't have any competition because there aren't many tag teams. Yeah. So who else are they going to drop the titles to that are even credible at this point to beat Damage Control? I feel like it all fits in the story, you know?
Yeah, well, the other thing, too, is Damage Control, or the hot potato of the tag titles, because people are, okay, Damage Control, people are like, okay, they haven't been booked well, like, as a threat. Like, their peak was their debut at SummerSlam. That's what people are saying. But they're also saying, okay, like the tag team, the tournament for the new women's tag titles, Damage Control lost there. Yeah. But then they picked up the titles, a week later. And they had the titles for 48 days, and they drop it here. So they've lost twice in big matches. If you're a big, hot new faction, you shouldn't be losing these big matches. That's what people are saying. What was I gonna say? So Alexa Bliss, Asuka, winning. Also keep in mind, Triple H, from the Attitude Era, there was a lot of hot potatoing with titles back in the day. There, like, people didn't have super long title reigns in the Attitude Era. So
right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm sorry to cut you off, but like, I feel like we're programmed now to think that you don't have a good title reign unless it's for 300 and over 300 days, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the same people who have a problem with Damage Control dropping the title so quickly are the same ones that are saying that Mandy Rose isn't the greatest women's NXT women's champion of all time, and she's held the title for 370 plus days.
Like Daniel Bryan said, "You're fickle." To this day, he is one of the greatest heels ever because he spoke the truth.
So you're buried if you hold it for 48 days, and like you said, right, and don't, like, if you're booked that way. But if you're booked like Mandy Rose, you're still not the best. It's still not enough.
You're fickle. You're all fickle.
Preference. Yeah, it's fickle.
So anyway, people are speculating what's this leading to, how this play into a War Games match. Some people are saying, could this be like a winner take all type thing?
Slow ride, man, the War Games.
Yeah, we'll see. So, all right, so we'll wrap up talking about Raw right there. Let's go ahead just for the last part here. Let's just give our predictions for Crown Jewel. Let's speed through this real quick. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh no, Bray Wyatt, but that's just so 8 matches here. All right, let's we'll start at the bottom, work our way up. Okay, we talk about Bray Wyatt. So we'll see what happens with Bray at Crown Jewel. All right, we got the OC versus the Judgment Day 6-man tag. Brian, who do you think wins this one?
I'm gonna go with the OC just because Judgment Day. Yeah, just because I feel like Judgment Day, they won at Clash at the Castle. Okay. And so I really feel like the OC gotta have this big win. Maybe have Dom take the pin or something, right? you know.
I'm leaning towards the Judgment Day. I know Carl Anderson got a win on Raw this weekend. So what, Damian Priest? Was it Damian Priest?
Yep.
Yeah, Damian Priest. So also I'm thinking, Judgment Day, just keep their momentum going. I'm kind of curious who OC gets to counter Rhea Ripley. That's the big question.
Think we find that out Saturday?
Oh, I hope so. All right. Wasn't that supposed to be? I thought that was supposed to be the reveal. We'll see. I hope so. All right. Braun Strowman versus Omos. Braun, cut the promo last week on SmackDown. It's like, you're a big man, I'm a big man. And it's I'm actually looking forward to this match. I love when big hosses go at it. Give me 5 minutes of just like power moves and finishers. Like, give me that. Just give me all the big meat, slapping meat type of thing. Who are you leaning towards this one?
I'm gonna go with Braun only because I feel like this is Braun's opportunity to say, all right, I'm really back. right? And I mean, Omos, no disrespect to Omos, but he doesn't really have that many matches or a reputation or track record to be able to say that he's oh my God, this is gonna make or break Braun Strowman. But I feel like it is kind of a make or break Braun Strowman moment. He just came back. This is I believe his first one-on-one match at a premium live event. So I feel like this is the opportunity. And hey, he's in the same country that he won that greatest Royal Rumble championship.
That's right. That's right. He has a good track record overseas over there.
He does.
I'm with you. I think Braun's going to win. He just returned to the company. Keep him hot with a big win here, and then maybe they can use him as a potential opponent for Roman Reigns at some point. I think with the Brawling Brutes and stuff, I think Sheamus is probably next in line for a match against Roman, just a filler match until we get to Royal Rumble and main event season. But Braun could be someone as a backup maybe because him and Roman do have history. But I think Braun's going to win here. With Omos though, once he loses, I don't know what you do with him after this. It's just, I know he's an attraction, but it's like special attraction, but man, I don't know if I'm MVP. Maybe I leave and bring back the Hurt Business.
Yeah.
something. All right, next up, Drew McIntyre taking on Karrion Kross in a steel cage match. Drew McIntyre was not on SmackDown this week. He was actually had the night off. He was celebrating Sheamus's wedding. Congrats, Sheamus. He was his best man there, so that's awesome.
That is very awesome.
Karrion Kross had a match, though, against Madcap Moss. Beat him. Choked him out. Cut a promo, looking at the camera.
I love it.
Poor Madcap Moss. So remember when they changed from Vince to Triple H, and the reports are there are some people who are worried about their place on the card once the regime change and the booking.
Yep.
I wonder if Madcap was one of those people because he was starting to finally get some momentum with Vince after he broke away from Happy Corbin. But once Triple H took over, we haven't really seen Madcap Moss that much. So,
right.
I hope maybe Madcap can maybe get some wins in the near future. But for right now, he's kind of just helping other guys over.
I feel like he's got to go through some repackaging. Yeah. If he's gonna have a future going forward.
Yeah. So with this match here, okay, Karrion Kross won at Extreme Rules. Scarlett can get involved, hence why the steel cage to keep people out like her. I feel like Kross should win to keep him strong and be like the second top heel on SmackDown after Roman. But I kind of wonder if Drew needs a win too, because he lost at Clash at the Castle. He lost at Extreme Rules. He's been on a losing streak on big matches. With the steel cage, you can win just by escaping the cage. So he could win, and Kross still looks strong by not being pinned. So
true.
My heart is saying Drew McIntyre. He's our boy. He's the friend of the program.
Yes.
I'm gonna go with Drew McIntyre. How about you?
I'm gonna go with Karrion Kross.
Yeah.
I feel like
this is probably the toughest match to call.
I know Drew needs it. But I think Kross needs it more because he's starting to build that reputation of, he's boring, he's this, he's that, number one. And number two, I think Drew McIntyre doesn't really have much to losing to Karrion Kross. He's already lost to Roman, right? He's in a big moment, big match. It's not like if Drew McIntyre beats Karrion Kross that's going to catapult him right back into the title picture or anything. But for Kross, I mean, he's doing interviews and saying that he wants to be the next, WWE Universal Champion. So he has to beat McIntyre. And it'll also prove that he can do this with or without Scarlett.
Oh, okay, good point. I just kind of wonder if this is just the second big match. There might still be a blow-off match at some point. Maybe a Survivor Series or something, like a third match.
Maybe Drew does win and then Kross just destroys him afterwards. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true. Next up for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles, Alexa Bliss and Asuka, the newly crowned champions, taking on Dakota Kai, Io Sky. They just won the titles a few days ago, and so this Saturday they've only been champions for 5 days. So I'm leaning towards Alexa and Asuka retaining. How about you?
Yeah, I think I agree. I'm going with Alexa and Asuka retaining, just because it would just feel weird. I know coming out of that, people are going to say, "Oh, Damage Control is buried. They're done." Unless Bayley does her job and captures some gold.
Well,
Crown Jewel.
Okay. Well, I do have a thought about that. We'll get to that in a second. All right. For the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships, the Usos taking on the Brawling Brutes. I mean, sorry, there's no way Brawling Brutes are going to win here. No, Usos are retaining.
Yeah, this is strictly just for a good match.
Just filler.
Premium live event. That's
exactly. All right, for the Raw Women's Championship, Bianca Belair taking on Bayley. Last woman standing match. I really like Bianca Belair. I like that she's having a long title reign, especially as a makeup for that 26-second loss to Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
This is like a year making up for all that redemption. She got her revenge against Becky at WrestleMania and at the rematch at SummerSlam. She's having a long title reign. It's like, she had that 26-second loss last year at SummerSlam, and then ever since then, they've really kind of made it up to her and gave her this awesome title reign, and she's beating everyone. People are saying, "Oh, she's like Cena now, Super Cena." It's like, well, no, she's a babyface. She's a fighting tough champion. Of course, she's going to beat people. That's how you create top champions. She's a champion for a reason. I kind of wonder if Bayley could win here, and some people are saying, let Bayley win here, become the new Raw Women's Champion. Alexa and Asuka retain the tag titles, and then the War Games match become winner take all, and then maybe Damage Control wins at War Games, and then that way, that's how you get the tag belts back on Dakota and Io, and Bayley's the Raw Women's Champion. So all three members of Damage Control become champions after Survivor Series War Games.
That's possible.
I don't know.
But then wouldn't that make it so that it would only have to be, Alexa, Asuka,
if
Bianca.
it's 4-4, yeah. What about the other people involved? Mm-hmm. Unless they go that old school NXT when they did 3 teams of 3. Back, remember, they did that with Undisputed, Pain, Authors of Pain with Roderick Strong, and who's the other 3? But you know what I'm saying. But I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards Bianca Belair retaining. I feel like maybe she could be champion all the way through WrestleMania. But then again, maybe Bayley wins here and then Bianca wins it back at WrestleMania. That's kind of like the thing. It's like Bianca wins titles at WrestleMania. She beat Sasha. She beat Becky. Mm-hmm. Maybe she loses the title now and then you can rebuild her up for another big classic WrestleMania moment. That's her thing, is she beats the 4 horsewomen for gold at WrestleMania. That's her personal story. I don't know. The safe bet feels Bianca. I feel like the safe bet's Bianca here. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm gonna say, I'll say Bianca.
Yeah.
I'll say Bianca just because I agree.
Unless Bayley wins it and then she goes, and then Bianca goes in the Royal Rumble and wins the Royal Rumble again. I don't know. I'm just going Bianca.
Or if Bayley wins and then Bianca wins it back on Raw. I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
that could happen.
We've seen that. Yeah. All right. We'll go Bianca just to be safe. All right. Next up, another big boy match I'm looking forward to. Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. They had a big Triple H loves his brawls and pullaways where everyone clears the locker room and pulls 2 guys apart. This Monday was another one of those. Pretty epic. I love Brock Lesnar wearing a Megadeth shirt. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And a shout out to WWE's Twitter or social media team. They said they used that photo in the tweet and said, "Is Brock sweating bullets?" which is a Megadeth song. So someone in WWE's social media team must be a metalhead.
That's awesome.
Great reference, great caption. But listen, Brian, Brock lost at WrestleMania. Brock lost at SummerSlam. Brock's been losing all the big matches. He lost to Bobby at day one, WrestleMania to Roman, SummerSlam to Roman. I feel like Brock is due for a win. I think Brock's going to win here. How about you?
Yeah, he is definitely due for a win, but I don't. Oh man, I feel like Bobby's got to get that win back.
Yeah, So Bobby did win at day one, or was it Royal Rumble? That was Royal Rumble where he beat Brock, right?
Did he beat Brock?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me see. Royal Rumble 2022. Yes, it was. Bobby Lashley defeated Brock Lesnar for the WWE title. Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
It was a good match.
Okay, so I guess Brock doesn't have to lose here.
It was a dream match. Finally got to see that, play out.
I feel like a lot of people on this Crown Jewel card are in a situation to where, like, if they lose, what's going to happen with them, right? Like Lashley's up against the wall. Bayley and Damage Control are up against the wall.
Yeah.
Karrion Kross and Drew are both against the wall.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's a lot of. I like this. It's not an easy thing to pick who's going to win all these, but yeah, I think Brock's winning here. He's just due for a big win on a big show, I think.
Okay.
But then again, he did win the title back at Elimination Chamber in February, so
yeah.
I think Brock. That's what I'm going with. Brock.
Okay.
But all right, main event time for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Roman Reigns taking on Logan Paul. We think of the build. I think they've been doing an okay job with the limited schedule that both guys have, appearances, I should say.
Well, and I think maybe it didn't go as well as they wanted it to. I think that the fans got fickle, and because I think WWE at least thought that they were going to get more of a babyface reaction for Logan Paul, considering he had such. I mean, he was getting cheered after his match at SummerSlam.
Yeah, true.
Everyone was talking about how good of a wrestler they were. Fantasy booking him and Bad Bunny. Like, I'm thinking, oh wow, he's got the respect. That's what he got. He got everyone's respect
for two matches.
SummerSlam.
Yeah,
well, the first one was tag team. This one was one-on-one. The big table spot. It takes guts to do that. And he executed it perfectly. So, yeah, I think maybe they thought, that he would get cheered just a little bit, but you're not getting cheered against Roman Reigns. So. Yeah,
there's no chance in hell Roman's losing. No. Roman's gonna win. He's got bigger plans to worry about.
You think they make it? You think they make us think that it's possible, at least for a second?
Maybe. Okay, so they're trying to, like you said, make Logan Paul a babyface, but it has been fully working.
Mm-hmm. And
I think because people kind of hate him for what he does outside of pro wrestling with social media and what some of the negative stuff he's done over the years. With that being said, I get the story you're trying to tell is like, he could land that one lucky punch. He knocked out Jey a couple weeks ago. He has the plate in his hand, trying to set up like Lex Luger. Remember Lex Luger had the plates in his forearms? He's trying to get some sympathy from that way. That if he connects the right hand, Roman could be done for. And they're trying to create some doubt that Roman could potentially lose. We know he's not going to lose here. I think Logan, he's been working with Shawn Michaels. I think he'll put on a credible match and it'll be entertaining. I'm sure they've been practicing and that stuff. So I think the match will be solid. But yeah, Roman's not winning. I'm sorry, Roman will win. Logan Paul's not going to win. I think it'll be fun. I wonder if Logan might actually land a right punch. Right. And then Roman kicks out of it just to show that he's in God mode. It's like, see, I took his big punch and I kicked out still.
Right.
So maybe that might be one of the spots to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Or maybe he hits Roman and then the referee gets knocked out. And
it could be very overbooked. But then again, the Bloodline might come out and help Roman protect him.
Well, and there's rumors, or PW Insider reported that Jake Paul is supposed to be accompanying his brother at the Crown Jewel. So
got Bloodline versus Bloodline.
He definitely won't be getting cheered then.
Oh my god! So yeah, I mean Roman's gonna win, and then yeah, I mean they might overbook it. So yeah, it could be Superman punch versus Logan's right punch. Yeah, no, like I said, Roman's gonna win. I'm sure Logan will put up a good fight, and you know, it's been an okay bill. Like I said, they've both had limited schedule appearances with them, so they've been trying to do as best storytelling as they could with what they had. So, and like I said, I'm okay with this match happening at Crown Jewel. Because like I said earlier, Crown Jewel I kind of treat as more of like an exhibition or like a one-off show, and like it takes a pause on the main storylines and just get this show done. And when the show's done, then get back to normal business with the regular storyline. So I'm all for Logan Paul having this match instead of someone else. I know people complain, oh, someone else should have an actual full-time member of the roster should have a match with Roman. It's like, no, I'd rather have Logan do this match and then save an actual credible opponent for one of the big 4 pay-per-views and stuff like that. Yeah,
you don't want Roman knocking down the entire roster, you know, before it's actually time for him to give up the championships, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. All right. So, yeah, we'll watch Crown Jewel this Saturday morning. We'll do a review at some point on the weekend, get that done for you guys. So it should be a lot of fun. It should be an entertaining show. I'm excited for it. So on that note, let's start wrapping things up. Brian, where can the Kliqsters find you online?
Kliqsters, you guys can find me at BrianTronic on Twitter and Instagram. And don't forget, I will be live tweeting, okay, from my Twitter account at BrianTronic. I will be live tweeting.
And I'm Baby Huey. Follow me on Facebook at Baby Huey Official, Twitter and Instagram at Baby Huey83. For everything else, at In The Kliq. If you want to email us, intthekliq@gmail.com. I really want to do like a bonus episode of fan mail. We just answer all that stuff. I think that'll be a fun discussion. So yeah, intthekliq@gmail.com. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts at. Please share the podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And on that note, let's go home. And that's the bottom line because Huey said so.